Gonna run through this mine shaft, kind of show some of the ways the build plays, some of the options you got. So you got your normal stampede, decent screen clear on the stampede as well. It changes a bit, some kind of bitrate thing it's saying. Whatever, we'll see. So basically we're doing a mine shaft, just finished Copper Citadel, but build's basically got a lot of tankiness from having shield and molten barrier. We're using ancestrals with earth spikes or earth shatters. They throw all your spikes out, you can kind of let them just kind of handle things. You end up losing a decent amount of health as you're casting stuff, but they'll do okay amount of damage. Mainly we got them for some free armor break on bosses. They give us some rage, but they'll handle stuff. All these little extra explosions that are going off are because we have jagged ground set up into the earth spikes. And then once we stampede over the top of them, we can pop those jagged grounds. And our I guess we're right at the boss, so that works out pretty well. So basically we got War Banner tech, does a decent amount of stuff. We got Blink, so we can still blink through if we need to, so we're not dodge rolling. We got War Banner, got Magma Barrier, we've got Blink, Seismic, Stampede, Infernal Cry, Shockwave Totem. So we got Shockwave Totem, can sometimes do 2 because of the talent. We got them set to double up, so where we at? We got 2 to limit, or 1 to limit, because we're running 3 as a base, so I can cast 3 regular totems, ancestrals as a base. They're using earth shatters, chance to create jagged ground, attack speed, physical damage as armor, and then we're using the 40% more area damage. Was running a Sunder one shot that was using that area damage in here, but I moved to the crit bonus, so my Sunder damage is a little bit less than it was. We're only casting Sunder from 2 maces, so it auto switches when you go for your Sunder, and then everything else we can cast Stampede to, but we're just going to be using it as one-hander. We got Hammer of the Gods double up with Ancestral, but yeah, we won't use Hammer of the Gods on this guy because it will kind of mess up how you can see the earth spikes, and basically the earth spikes are going to, I guess that wasn't a boss, never mind. Earth spikes are going to do a lot of our stun and armor break, and it's going to show how fast it actually does stun on a boss once we get there, but yes, we got nothing here, but your clear is going to be a combination of, you know, your blinks, your stampedes running through. You just blink right past some of these mobs. You can set your ancestrals and kind of see what they do and how much damage it pops out. You still got your shots to break spikes for additional damage if you want. Or you can just peek through, because we're taking a lot of the area of effect clear. All those extra explosions that you're seeing in the background are rather the bright, almost like pillars of light that are coming out of the ground. Those would be from the jagged ground procs. There's a few different things you can do. You can throw that jagged ground into your stampede and get even more, and few different ways that you can play around it to get more area clear, but I'm using it primarily for getting that stun and damage to the boss. Now the shield is what's keeping us alive through most of all this. So we don't have a ton of armor, but we're only at 25% armor, 75% block. We don't have any block, obviously, whenever we switch to our two-handers. So that's why when we cast our Sunder, we need to be in a safe spot on the boss. And it uses a lot of health to cast that that Sunder with +6 to skills. So you can see that we take a good amount of damage from mobs, even whenever hard casting that Sunder. You don't have to do the 2 weapons. I just managed to find and craft some. So I was able to get 3 +6 weapons with about 500 something DPS apiece. Some of them were much lower, but then the quality and upgrades and corrupting, getting a 3rd slot, they had higher physical, and that helped out. You just got your standard stampede clear. Magma Barrier, if you get loaded up, you just kind of don't want to hold up your shield the whole time, because then you'll start building your stun. You see, like, we're building that stagger on there. But if you just use it for popping when they attack, you can clear out a good amount with Magma Barrier. So head up here to get these rares. You can kind of see what how much magma will clear. I don't know what mods we've got going on this except for quantity and rarity, I think. And for my stuff, I'm running, or I've got 109% rarity, but there's some 35 quantity, 54 rarity on the map, so haven't seen anything great so far, but maybe we'll get a good drop. But yeah, normally it's kind of like if you feel like you're getting jammed up, you're just gonna tap your Magma Barrier and clear them out. If you feel like you can safely clear, you're not getting crowded too much, you can stampede through, blink in right into. You can blink into Magma Barriers, so you can blink into a shield block, and then that'll pop your Magma Barrier. This map doesn't have any significant modifiers, so it's not going to be too hard, but you can just see just the totems, how much they're going to clear, and then when you stampede through, get a lot more damage. It just keeps popping, because your aftershocks will keep popping the jagged grounds as well. Yeah, we'll head up to the boss. We got a checkpoint over by. Take the checkpoint. Alright, so we're going to click this off because I don't want it to affect it. Alright, so we're just going to throw these spikes, or these ancestrals out. Spawn the boss. Spawn the boss. So we're going to stun him pretty quick. Double shout. Go down on this. And Sunder. So effectively we're using the ancestral totems. Throw 3 of those guys out. Sometimes it pops the 2, so you don't have to pay for the other one. But we're getting 3 of those guys out, and what they're doing is they're going to be throwing down this Earth Shatter. So when it throws down the Earth Shatter spike, those spikes have a chance to create jagged ground. They're doing it 25% cast speed. We've got some increased duration stuff, so it's at about almost 14 seconds. They're also breaking armor, but the armor break applies to the spikes when the spikes explode as well. And then they're doing 40% more area damage. And that's like, and the area damage here is to build up more stun and to build up more armor break, right? It should feed into it, especially on bosses. So then whenever you blow up the spikes with your shout, you see like a bunch of stuff's going off, but as the spikes are out there, when you stampede through, stampede has this effect where you causes all nearby patches of jagged ground to explode, and damages enemies standing in them. So those jagged ground patches can also be brought up by, by the Earth Shatter, because Earth Shatter has 50% chance to create the jagged ground from this ancestral. So you have 3 of them, 50% chance. You should get 1 or 2, plus the ones that come with Stampede. Those all start popping off, so you can just Stampede into the boss once your guys have dropped their spikes. And I was running Upheaval on the Ancestral Totem instead of the 40% more area damage, and it's great. It's just that it breaks the game. The game, for some reason, has an issue with all the jagged ground, and I think it keeps it as a persistent shader or some kind of layer, and so it was breaking the game once I was using it too much. In Delirium especially, it would mess up the game. So it wasn't ideal. So I went down to using just 1, but I will be showing kind of what it looks like whenever you have all of them in there. So we'll go to, so we have Upheaval in here. We got Upheaval. There we go. So we're going to throw Upheaval into Ancestral Totem instead of this one. Take this critical off, put that here. Yeah, and kind of like I said with the maps and stats, I don't have max lightning. I've got almost cold, fire, chaos, and that the setup is just because I wanted to be able to use rarity for ringing this, and then this kind of boosts rarity up, or boosts the rings up so it gets more rarity. But we'll just do some random map. We'll try a channel. You might be able to start seeing like some graphic settings. Even whenever I put graphics down to medium and the filtering down, texture filtering down, I've got this running on low. It will handle all this other stuff, but I don't like the extra clutter. But I've got a RTX 4070, and even on the previous 2060 Super that I had, it was giving me issues, but this 4070 handles everything fine. But it's this one particular mechanic where the totems are just spamming so many spikes, because you're only supposed to get 9 spikes, right, with this Earth Shatter. So maximum of 9 spikes, but I think it counts these extra or as individuals. So when I put 3 of these guys out, it ends up being 3 times 9, 27 spikes, and you'll be able to see how much it messes up the game after a while. Like I think it just keeps things off screen as still counted somehow. Let's see. Let's try to find like a harder map or something with like stun build up. Where the monsters get, or no, we want. Yeah, we still want stun threshold. Here we go. Chilled ground, pack size, stun threshold, break armor, have higher ailment threshold. We'll run that one just even though it's only 14. And we'll put it in here. Might go and do this Zesh with these guys. We'll see. If I don't guarantee them I can kill it, then they may not want it. So for Zesh, people, y'all probably already know, but basically whenever you go and kill them, you're going to get a map for each of the pinnacle bosses. So for Arbiter, I've only been able to do, what is this? I think this was, I haven't gotten to be able to do the third one, I think. This was, yeah, I've done 2. There we go. So I've done, you get 2 points each time. So I've done T1, T2. I've tried them after the patch, and I don't know if it's just me being a bad gamer or if it's just the timing, but he just takes so little damage at the beginning. I've heard that like during his talk phase, it's a huge reduction. Let me know. But we'll start on this channel. But either way, oh, okay. I like this one. I don't know why this is called channel, but I feel like it should be more like chapel or something. But you're gonna see all these spikes that start going out from just 2 of them, and then all of the damage that you can get going. But something about the shader seems to like mess up after a while. Die, who knows? But it does a significant amount of damage. You still get your shouts, but you get so many spikes with 3 of them. You'll see. And then when you run over them, everything just starts popping off. And you can safely do it just by throwing them out. And then just throwing your shockwave totem. And it just continuously spams those jagged grounds. So you get a lot of stuff going on the screen with that, but there's another way you can do it too, where you just get very large shockwaves instead, where you just take your jagged ground and you throw it onto your stampede. So let's take stun buildup off. We'll put that onto there, and then our shockwave totem is gonna pop real quick, right? But we can get 4 of these guys out here. It's going to pop the ground, so we throw 4 of these guys out and run over the top, and you'll see they just start popping all that jagged ground that we've created with our stampede. And the jagged ground is comparable in size based off of the ability that causes it. So because we have a lot of area of effect on our stampede, you'll see this right here, this jagged ground that gets created. Stays for about 4 seconds, and it just pops off with these shockwave totems. So we'll kind of show, actually this would be a pretty good one where you can kind of just see because of the large area. So we'll go ahead and just we're going to use the stampede. You know what? Let's switch it over just so you can see how the spikes work. So we're taking the jagged ground. We put this on the stun build-up one. So we're not really going to worry about stampede until after these spikes start going, but we're going to throw our guys out, right? So we got 3 of these guys going. We'll throw 4. Or we can only do 3, never mind. One of these guys. We're just going to kind of stand here and just watch it all play out. So our shockwave totem is blowing up all the jagged ground that these spikes are creating. We still have our shouts. It just clears a massive area. So you can effectively, even with Titan, without any significant points into totems, just get a ton of damage using the support gems that are provided in the game. So basically with the Ascendancy, I've got the Aftershock points here. I've got the hulking form and maximum life, right? It's nice to have a little bit of a life buffer. So for weapon skill sets, basically the orange ones are going to be my shield, right? So I've got my shield on, and I want the larger area of effects with my shield. And then I've also got increased totems, right? So when I have my shield on, I'm just coming off of here. I got this gem from my main set, and then I split my weapon ascendancy, or my weapon skills for my skill set 1 is these orangish red lines right here. So we got the shield block stuff, we've got shockwaves, so increase area effect if you stunned, all the area of effect stuff, right? I've got area attack damage for my main build, my main points, and then I've got the area of effect stuff on the shield stuff, because that's what I'm clearing with Stampede, so I get those large area of effect. And then up here we've got some more area of effect stuff for the shield. Now and then I went, some of these only, you'll see the main ones go this far, and it's like, well, why do I have critical damage bonus? Because I'm not really doing crits, but this is just so that I could allot my weapon set 2 points a little bit easier. So basically I went down this far just so that because I only had enough left over, and I wanted to get the critical damage bonus, because when I swatched my 2 maces, I'm getting those crit sunders, and I wanted the extra crit plus the strength, right? Alright, and then up here we've got a 30% increased block chance, reduced global defenses. This gets us a lot of our block, obviously. You could, if you don't want to go all the way up there, you can just use this. But since I'm already going up there, because I went all the way up from my weapon set 2 to get all these attack damage nodes, just straight flat attack damage. So this is where it branches off from my 2 maces, my weapon set 2. And then we've got the attack damage here, weapon set 2, just to boost all of the damage that we're putting into that sunder. And we've already got the area of attack nodes, or the area of attack damage nodes. And then here we've got the aftershock from the main stuff, because we want our aftershocks, the free ones from our Stampede, which is in our weapon set 1, but then in our weapon set 2 for Sunder, we also want it. So you can see, like, you're going to get an aftershock that didn't get an aftershock, this next one should, right? About 2 out of every 3 times you're going to get the aftershock. And I say 2 out of every 3 because it's just, you know, the basic math on it. So we had 2 of them in a row that went there. But the reason it's happening is because we've got aftershocks for slam skills 10%, and there's another 12% for slam skills, and then we have the 20% slam skills. So that's only 42. So you're like, why 2 out of every 3? And the reason is because when we go to our aftershock here, I've heard people say it's not additive, it doesn't actually play into itself. They may be right, I don't know, but we added 25% additional to Sunder for aftershocks. And then effectively Stampede has even more, because whenever you go to the quality, you've got 30% chance to cause an aftershock when you quality it up. So that helps. This quality just increases totem duration. This quality is attack time, which is nice, so it attacks a little bit faster. You can even throw this into there, and if you see, let's go with yeah, we'll just put it into this one for now, just so you can see how fast. So if you put your 4 slam totems out, they will pop off really fast, and then you do your, you can kind of see all the jagged ground getting popped if you rock into there. So yeah, it's not too bad. I've got it into the ancestrals, but you know what, we'll leave it into there so we can see that for now. Life on the ancestral totems. One of the major benefits of ancestrals, if you don't want to do the jagged ground and have everything cluttered, it's understandable. We can put these fonts just so you can see it. Well, yeah, we'll put the fonts on there so you can see it. But when, instead of breaking armor as we go here, it seems to make persistent fonts on them on the ground. So every time it creates an earth spike, because earth spikes can also be used as to create fonts of rage, fonts of life, fonts of mana. When you put these guys out and they start doing their thing, right? We've got 3 of them out. You can see that each of these earth spikes also has it looks like fire, but it's actually the rage. Now we'll just let them sit and see if they persist, because sometimes they seem to just persist. Okay, it's not doing it right now. I'm not quite sure. Well, see, these did. I think it's if it kills a mob. I think it's part of it. Like if they kill something, I'm not exactly sure what causes it, but sometimes it will leave them, and I think that persistent effect is part of what lags out the game. You can see all of those jagged grounds that are being created, and they just continuously pop off. Now we've got all this persistent rage. So you can see that it's persistent because up here I've got both of these. The totems are gone, but this rage effect is still staying, right? And if I walk out of the way of it, you see it start to go down. But if you walk back into it, it will count back up. So it stays here, and you can effectively cover most of the map with rage life gain. Now I can only do 3 totems, but because we have this on Shockwave, it increases the amount, but not just for this one. So it doesn't mean that I can only have 4 on there. I don't know if it's intended or not, but you can have a 4th one with Shockwave, which already has a long cooldown base. And we wanted attacking fast and popping all of our other stuff off, so it doesn't really matter that it's shorter, because we're just going to kind of throw it out there real quick, and it pops a lot of our jagged ground. So you save mana if it lasts longer, but you get that 4th one along with all the other spikes. And our magma barrier is what's causing all the ignite whenever we block. We're kind of like moving through slow. Normally I don't use the totems whenever I'm clearing because it will oftentimes mess up the screen, but you can just see like how much it does. And then every one of these golden things, that's the jagged ground that it's creating that's popping off from these totems. So from the earth spikes that are going on. Just to kind of give you an idea of how much, we don't have quite an open area right now, but you can see the amount of jagged ground that gets created is going to be pretty nuts when you're in an open area. There's a lot of packs coming out. Mainly what we want is to show how much it can actually clear, because basically wherever your stampede hits, or wherever the area of effect is for your shockwave totem, it will create, it will have the jagged grounds, and that shockwave totem will just continuously pulse and pop those jagged grounds. You can kind of see it all for every single area. And when it creates a jagged ground, it's not just at the spike, so that's the other part. Visually it doesn't seem to show it too well, but it creates it in the entire line that the totems are casting, right? So when it throws it, now you can see it because you'll see the lines ripple out. It's not just on the spike, it's in that entire effect where it created it. So like if things get hairy, get stunned like that, just with Magma Berry you can just kind of press block and burn everything up. Magma Berry does a good amount of damage on its own because it feeds in from the back damage. If I were to put a shield in my second weapon set, like I had before, it's a pretty substantial amount of damage, but I wanted to go to 2 maces, so we'll just throw the totems in here so you can kind of see. It's pretty easy. They will clear a lot, and I haven't invested in the totems. I'm not a Warbringer. I think there's some significant advantages to some of the other, like what I've seen with people with shouts and Warbringer classes and stuff, the Warbringer ascendancy, but this is just using the supports and letting it ride. The way I was able to get to the 3 totems is because I changed up my distill, and now I'm just taking this. Active skills have 1 to maximum number summoned, and 20% chance to summon another one. It's not an amazing one to use, but I wanted to have multiple totems just to see if I could passively reach. If I could reach on the passive tree without overextending way down into here, and get 3 totems up that have long durations, to just see how much clutter I could put on the screen, basically. It is, when it comes to bosses, it is a ton of armor break and stun buildup. with overwhelming presence, I mean, like, map bosses are pretty easy to stun and kill. Armor break. Let me make sure I got my armor break back on. We don't need the font of rage on these guys, or font of life. Put on this one. Here we go. Alright, so you can get a decent amount cleared just using that. And like the shield is passively healing us until I set in a bunch of fire or whatever that was. But you see, like, just passively how much damage it's doing. And they will just continue pumping those spikes. And you can just let them clear out everything pretty much without fully committing to a totem build if you still want to be able to stampede through. I just like to get them to spread the spikes out and start the ritual. Now, shockwave turns into positive. This, you can kind of see it's like the clutter is just nuts. So it's find these other rituals. But you can kind of see my screen starting to jump a little bit, and that's what will start happening whenever I'm using so many of those totems. And there's so many of those persistent spikes. It will get worse and worse and worse, and then eventually it will mess up. But if we look at the at this and see kind of what's going on here, what do we got for spikes? Video RAM, CPU, latency's fine, frames per second's fine, but then you'll just start to see it. I'll just leave that up so you can kind of see, but you'll see it start, my guy will start stuttering. And when I've gotten errors, it's been shader core issue, or shader issues, not shader core, but shaders and layer errors. And I have unlimited set for my, my cache, so I don't think it's anything to do with that. It's done it with high and stuff. The only thing that is actually affecting it, because it's not even, like, it handles it fine when I'm in it, but it does not handle it fine in Delirium, and you can kind of see him starting to mess up right there. We're getting a lot of spike, so looks like CPU spike, and I'm not sure if it's just not taking the oh, that's not good. It's just sad and blood. See, I still have it when I come back into town. And I'm not exactly sure why that happens. So I have all these spikes going on. But it plays perfectly fine until then, and then it jacks up. So I'm going to try to clear the pause and then pause this and try to clear the cache real quick.